And for the guest today, we have Oleg Savitsky in the UATV studio from the Razom Wisdom Foundation. Oleg, greetings.
Hi.
Well, I'd like to ask you about the recent sanctions package against Russia because some people are saying that those sanctions are not working, but we see that that pressure on the Russian economy with rising inflation, rising interest rates, and the effect known as stagflation, when everything produced in the military complex goes right into Ukraine, into the war, and gets burnt in the furnace of war. What do you think about the recent pressure on Russian
Well,
economy?
yeah, I think this new sanctions package is quite significant, especially given the circumstances that it's being adopted during Hungarian presidency in the European Council, uh, which is quite an obstacle for negotiations and for moving forward with sanctions. Hungary was blocking uh, many efforts before, and now when these sanctions adopted, it's a symbol that the European Commission actually has leverages over Hungary and Slovakia, and can override their opposition and force adoption of new sanctions, even when Hungary is nominally chairing the process. So I think it's a positive move, especially given that a quite significant number of oil tankers was designated by individual sanctions. It's 52 ships, which is significant, and it is much more than in any previous sanctions packages against Russian shadow fleet. For example, UK a few months ago they adopted package against 18 ships, and now EU is moving much faster, which is a positive development. But just for comparison, the estimated number of Russian oil tankers, which are part of this shadow fleet, which operates beyond internationally recognized insurance and technical standards and uh, legal system in general, it's more than 600 vessels. And even this sanctions package is removing only less than 10% of Russian shadow fleet.
We have seen the horrible consequences of the oil tanker or oil freighter in the Black Sea, where several ships at once of Russian origin have sank, and the oil spills are tremendous. They've reached already the Krasnodarski Krai. They're poisoning right now the Ukrainian Black Sea and the temporarily occupied Crimea. And maybe that is a real danger for European seas because these vessels of the Shadow Fleet, they are not maintained, they are invisible, they are not insured.
They are not invisible most of the time. They still have to operate technically within the uh, yeah basic standards of International Maritime Organization, and they would not be able to pass through straits and territorial waters of new member states with turned off transponders, but they occasionally turn off their transponders to do, for example, ship-to-ship transfers of oil to mask its origin. Uh, but generally, I think now there is a full awareness about the like mounting risk for new member states, Norway, UK. That they recognize that it's only a question of time when the disaster of the scale that happened in Kerch Strait will happen in their territorial waters, because Russian ships, they are 30, 40 years old. They operate beyond any technical standards. And if such spill occurs in European territorial waters or UK or Norway, the cost would be tremendous. The taxpayers of those countries would have to cover billions of euro in cost of remediation and decontamination of coastal areas.
And the unavailability of other sources or the seeming unavailability for European contracts with Russian Gazprom and oil companies, they seem to demonstrate that no, we are abstraining from Russian oil. It's dirty, it's bloody because of the war, but still some companies are buying it. Why is it so hard for such countries, maybe as Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia, to shift from Russian energy sources to other sources, probably from the United States, from Azerbaijan, other countries that produce oil and gas?
Well, business relationships, especially in this such strategic area, they are quite politicized, and that's why oil and gas deals are often made with the presence of highest level officials like presidents, prime ministers. And this is indeed a question of geopolitics as well. So those countries, they made decisions to make those strategic ties with Russia long ago, and they are not ready to, to break this connection and build alternative ones with some Middle East countries or United States or alternative suppliers of oil, which are actually available. And now there is a surplus of oil in the international market. And the OPEC countries, they actually can produce oil much cheaper than Russia. Well, I often say that the key to Putin's defeat lies within the oil market. So if the United States, for example, would found an agreement with Saudi Arabia and few other key producers to decrease the oil price in the world market, to dump the price, and at the same time enforce strong sanctions and prevent Russian oil exports, Putin's regime would just collapse in weeks' time because oil is the bloodline of Russian war economy. But unfortunately, I think the most tragic legacy of Biden administration and his biggest mistake was insufficient enforcement of the price cap and not consistent policy against Russian oil trade.
Well, oil is the blood of war after all. It has always been in the 20th century. And let us all hope that this blood will be cut off from the Russian war machine. Thank you very much, Oleg, for being a studio today. So that was Oleg Savitsky, strategic advisor of the Razom Foundation. Uh-huh. So that was Oleg Savitsky, strategic advisor of the Razom Foundation in UATV studio, commenting on the oil sanctions against Russia in the latest 15th package.